Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today's video is actually going to be a bit of a declutter. I have gathered some things that just need to get out of here. I have a tray here of things that I just no longer need, I'm not using, or just didn't work out for me. So if any of these things are your favorites, I'm so glad that they work for you, but it's either things I just loved and just don't use enough of, or just plain just didn't work out for me. So I have a little bit of everything in this declutter, so we're not doing just eyes this time. I do have quite a bit of eye stuff, but there's also a lot of face products here. So if you guys are interested in seeing what it is that I'm decluttering, then I hope you keep on watching. So I'm starting off with eyeshadow palettes, and the first one that's on top here is from Lorac. This guy is the, I think, California Dreamin'. There's no name on this guy for some reason. I feel like before, like quite a few palettes actually didn't have their names on them, which I thought was really odd, but this is California Dreamin', I'm pretty sure. And the packaging, you know, it just kind of had like these like sticker type decal on it, which felt very like cheapy, but I really liked the color story at the time. I don't even remember when this came out, but this is a cooler color story. It's definitely something that at the time I didn't have a lot of, so I was really interested and kind of into this one, but I found that I just really wasn't reaching for it. But my favorite shade in the palette is called Kitty Cat. Let me swatch it. I've been trying to find a dupe for this, and it seems like a shade that is easily dupeable, but I really couldn't find an exact match. It's either too dark, too rosy, too light, too bronze, something. And it seems like a really dupeable shade, but I couldn't find in my collection anything that looks like this exactly. And so I kept it for a while for that guy, but a long story short, I just don't use it. I don't use this. It's an older palette now and the quality isn't as great. I just found I wasn't reaching for this color story very much. There aren't a lot of like, this was probably the most impactful shimmer, which is another reason I was really drawn to it, other than I do like the color, but I found I wasn't even using it when I kept it just for that shade. It's really a mainly matte palette with a few satins. These aren't high impact shimmers, and I really like a very shimmery shimmer, so that's why this one's getting out. But I do like this color story even still. I think it's really cute, but I know I'm not going to get any more use out of it, you know. I really liked Lorac's formula. I still think that they make a really good matte formula, but the shimmers, at least their old shimmers, are just not shimmery enough for me anymore. And I haven't tried any of their newer palettes. So if you've tried any of the newer Lorac palettes, let me know and I might check those out. The next palette is from ColourPop. You guys, I have been holding on to this thing because I really do like the colors, but I never ever reach for this. This is called Chasing Rainbows. It's just a cute palette. I think it's really adorable. This has been discontinued. Inside it says keep your head in the clouds, which I think is an adorable phrase. It still has neutral colors while being colorful. This has some really cute unique shades in here. Like I was always keeping this for the shade Lucid, which is this guy here. On One is another favorite, really cute, and the shade Eclipse. I always kept it for these shades, but to be honest, I never used them. So that's those right there. The formula just isn't as good as it used to be. It is kind of getting a little crumbly here, and so yeah, while I think the color story is really cute and fun, I just don't use it. I really want, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna keep this, and then I never do. And I'm thinking, you just have to get rid of it because you're not gonna reach for it. You know, we might as well do another ColourPop. I have one more from ColourPop. This is the Garden Variety palette. I love this one. As far as like the packaging goes, I think it's so cute, but the color story had a lot to be desired. First of all, you've got these gorgeous succulents all over it, but there's literally only one green in the palette. I found that this was very inconsistent. Sometimes ColourPop has a really great formula, like the Limoncello palette. While I find that to be an incredibly boring color story, I think that the formula is really good. But this, I don't like. The shimmers are incredibly crumbly, and I wish there were more green. There's a lot of purple and just like nudie shades in here, which I think is cute. I still don't like the formula. I find them to be really crumbly and they're not that pigmented. I just didn't find that I got any looks that I liked with this really. It was just okay. I feel like with as many palettes that I have, I want something that I really love to stay in my collection and that I feel like Every time I use it, I love the way it looks. This was just okay. Was I able to turn out looks good or decent? Absolutely. But I felt like it required a little bit more work. The shimmers aren't that great in here, and the mattes were just so-so. So as much as I like the packaging on this one, I think it's gonna have to go. My last eye palette is actually from Juvia's Place. I really like the artwork on this. I love the colors. The contrast of the like bright corally red with the teal, I think is so cute, and it just makes me happy to look at it. But aside from that, this color story is really quite boring. It looks really interesting because of this blue background. Sometimes brands will have a really good color story, but the background shade that for the colors to be in is terrible. In this case, it really worked in its favor, and it made it look more interesting to me. But if I really look at the shades, these are shades that I have 10 times over. I really like the shades in here. It has this gorgeous silver shade here, which is so pretty. It's just like kind of like icy blue silver shade. I don't know, it's an interesting silver. Realistically, it's just not something that I need. You know, I have a lot of palettes that have a lot of similar shades. I actually haven't really been super into warm shades that much anymore anyways. While I would have typically have kept it for these warm mattes, I have warm mattes. I think also I've kept it too long and the formula kind of isn't that great anymore. So while it still is showing up, it just isn't as impactful as I know Juvia's to be. I wasn't getting enough use out of this. So that's gonna basically be the theme of this declutter, is I just wasn't using it, or it just didn't work out. So I have some other items coming up that I just didn't like the formula, but I'll get to those. Going into face palettes, this one, I should not have purchased this to begin with. It was way too light. I should have picked the deeper one, but I got this one anyway. This was the Glow, Gleam, and Beam from e.l.f. They had two options. This one's the light one, and then they had like a medium to deep. So I definitely should have picked up the deeper option. These are just too light. I don't know what I was thinking. And they're not really that pigmented. They weren't giving me that sheen I want. It just wasn't as bam, you know. These are just a little too subtle for my liking. While I would try to use the other two for maybe on my eyes, I just have so many eyeshadows that it really wasn't worth it, and I just found myself not reaching for this. I have a ton of Anastasia glow kits and just other highlighting palettes that I much prefer. So for that reason, I'm definitely gonna have to get rid of this one. And then the last face palette I have for you is this Black Radiance one. This is the True Complexion Contour Palette. Now this one is for medium to deep. I actually really like this one, and I usually took it for travel because it kind of had a one and done. But over time, the highlighter really wasn't what I needed, and I just found myself not really reaching for it. Not really because of the shades, because this works great as a bronzer for me, and this was great for deepening things up. And it really wasn't an issue necessarily of formula, although there are things in my collection that I prefer. I just found that the packaging is just kind of like so it doesn't really make me want to grab for it. And I have a ton more bronzers that I like over these, even though this comes in a nice little convenient package of, it's not super bulky, and the closure is pretty good on this. Even though it's cardboard, it just, I don't know, I just found that I really wasn't reaching for this that much, and I don't love the highlight, and I wasn't using that either, so I'm gonna have to let this one go. But this is actually a good palette if you were looking for an affordable contour palette, and it does come in other shades. Moving on to foundation, I actually really like this formula, and I need to see if I can find my shade, because that's the only issue with this one. This is the Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation from Urban Decay. This was in the shade 60YW. It is just way too orange for me, so that's the reason why I'm decluttering this one. I do have a neutralizer, but I've noticed, because this is a glowy formula, that even though it's not supposed to change the formula, it would absolutely make this matte, and I don't know why. So I'm just gonna get rid of the foundation because I'm not using it. It's starting to get a little bit weird because I've had it for a while, because I can never use it. Simply because it is just the wrong shade. It's way too orange. So I want to see if I can find my match in this, because I actually really do like this guy. I like the packaging as well, even though that's not glass. It is plastic. I want to say I might try 60CW or CG, see if that works out a little better. This guy was just too orange. The neutralizer I have is from, I think, LA Girl, and it just makes everything matte. It's not supposed to. From my understanding, it's supposed to not change the formula, but every time I used a dewy foundation, it would end up being matte, and I wouldn't use a ton. So I don't know like what I'm doing wrong, but if you have any tips or tricks on that, I would love to know. So please let me know down in the comment section. But I have a few drugstore items that I'm decluttering because I had this idea to buy all the things that I used to use in like high school, early 20s, and see if I still like them today. But all that did was cost me like $50, and I never did the video. I mean, I filmed it, but I never uploaded it. So if you guys are interested, let me know. But I filmed it like last year. But if you guys are interested, let me know. But I picked up a few items that, my makeup taste has changed so much. These are Maybelline singles. I used to be obsessed. I had so many of these, and they're like quads or 5 pans. I had tons of them. But this is Humdrum Plum and Vanilla. I used to use like a vanilla shade for my inner tear duct all the time. And now I can't even tell you the last time I did that. But I did buy these because I can remember maybe having these shades. I don't know if I had this purple one for sure, but I do know I really liked purple back then. So I thought I would try that out. The problem is the purple really isn't good. The vanilla shade was okay if you're just using it as an inner tear duct, but it's not great. You know, like I wouldn't put this on the lid. It's not the best quality either, but let me see. It's not super pigmented, which is why I feel like it worked out good for an inner tear duct, because I didn't really need it to be. And then the purple, I mean, the purple is actually better quality, but I don't know, it just isn't that pigmented. So it feels nicer though, because the white feels a little gritty, disaster, and it was expensive. I was like, oh my gosh, drugstore stuff has gotten so expensive. With that same video, I had picked up this mascara because I remember really using this a lot. This was something I repurchased. Now I hate this mascara. This is the Maybelline mascara. It's the Define a Lash. It had this kind of like hourglass type of, like a little bit, not too bad. It has a little bit of a curve. It's a rubber bristle brush. I hate this. This doesn't do much for my lashes at all, and I found that it was just kind of pokey, so she's being decluttered. I also picked up at that same time this CoverGirl Clean Matte, just as pressed powder. I picked up the shade Soft Honey. In high school, this was the shade I wore, but over time I've just gotten a little bit darker. But yeah, this is also not my undertone. I think that's my issue as well. They didn't have, like, the next shade up was going to be too dark. I think it was like Toasted Almond, and that was just too dark. I don't like this powder. It just did not look good, and it is just not, it's just not my shade, you know? So I really liked these at the time, but girl, my taste in makeup has changed so much. My skin has changed, obviously, with getting older. This is not it. I also don't really use powder foundations very often. Another item that I'm decluttering is from ABH. This is the glitter adhesive. I don't like this. Every time I've tried to use it, it just makes a big old mess. First of all, it's very liquidy, which is fine, but the applicator is a like nail polish type of brush, also fine. Like, I don't really mind that, but the product itself, whether I use very little product or a lot of product, it tends to move around my shadow underneath, and I just can't be having that. Like, I've used this with glitter. It didn't really work that great with it. It wasn't as sticky enough. I found that NYX glitter glue works 10 times better, or if you wanted to use the Too Faced one or whatever glitter glue. There's so many on the market now, but I feel like those work a lot better. This was just too liquidy, and it moved around and it transferred to the upper lid. I know, hooded eye problems, but I just didn't find that this worked well. And then I tried using kind of as a mixing medium to mix with other shades, and those ended up looking a mess also. So I can't figure out how to use this. I prefer, if we're going to use something that's similar to this, the Kat Von D one. That one works a lot better for me. I found that the KVD one worked a lot better, and it was a lot more tacky. So this just was not really sticky or tacky, and it just kind of made a big old mess. Every time I used it, I hated what it had, and then I ended up having to start over. So it's pretty full because I just couldn't get this to work for me. So the last item that I'm going to show, I actually have a ton more products, but I don't want this to be super long, so maybe I'll do another part to this. The Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. This is supposed to be a silicone-free, does it all primer. I hate this. They have another one that's like $5 in the white packaging. I can't even remember what I want to say it's part of the Photo Focus line. I actually like that one. I don't like this. I don't, can you hear this? What is that? It's like a blob inside of the bottle. Like, I don't understand. And every time I squeeze it out, when I tell you it goes everywhere, I don't get it. It does not come out like a normal primer. It's like a glob. Watch, it's probably gonna come out perfectly now. I'm trying to get this out without it going everywhere, y'all. Oh my god. It comes off in pieces. Look at this. It's, oh my god. You see? I can't even show you. I have to throw this away. It is one of the worst primers I've ever used. There's a handful I can think of that are really, really horrible. This is probably the worst drugstore one that I've ever tried. I don't understand this. This is one of the worst ones, period. If you have this, does yours do this? Is there something wrong with mine? Because I don't get it. Like, it's separated, but it's like in blobs. I can't even get it to come out like cohesively. Oh no. But it's not supposed, like, I don't even know. Like, it kind of makes me mad. That's how annoying this product is. I don't understand this. It was affordable, so I'm not too pressed because it wasn't expensive, but I don't care what price it is. This should not be doing all that. This is garbage. It will not come out in one solid piece. And then when you try to spread it out, it's just a mess. And it really doesn't do anything. If you could get it out and actually onto your face. I don't know why mine is like so separated. That's all I have this time around, you guys. I do have more products that I can definitely show you guys in a second part to this. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.